What's up, everybody, and welcome to BIOS 3 Raw TV. Before we get started today, I mentioned to you guys that we had a couple ads in the MD. This is a muscular development ad from a couple months ago or last month. As you can see on the bottom, it is Levrone approved, which means Kevin Levrone put his stamp of approval on the product, and that was this one with Johnny Jackson on the cover. So Kevin's like approving certain products that he feels are good, that technically he didn't make, but other companies have made that he thinks are good. So that's the new Levrone approved thing that's going on with Big Bitch Formula and some other products. So today I want to talk about a couple things, comments, and answering comments. So the first one I'm going to get to is FTW X13 or FTW times 13. You want to know about range of motion. He had seen Jason Huh talking about like this partial range of motion where Jason does these little tiny ranges of motion. Now, FTW, and you guys, what you may not know, is Jason was part of and as far as I know still is, a message board called Professional Muscle, which I've been on since 2005, 2004, around there. And also on that board, we have Phil Hernon, who Jason worked closely with Phil Hernon for a while. And Jason was on there before he was pro, before he was a mass monster, when he was just starting out. He was doing like a DC protocol. He worked with Dante for dog crap training. And other guys on the message board, Lee Priest, Milo Sarchev, King Kamali used to be on there quite a bit, Dave Pulsinella's on there. I mean, there's a lot of pros, a lot of good guys that know their stuff on there. And one of the things that Phil suggests, and he's said it time and time again out in the open board, is not doing a full range of motion. Now, let me back up. Beginners, I think you should do a full range of motion to get to know your body and know how things feel. But then, when you get to a certain point, you realize that if you're trying to isolate a certain body part, let's say it's chest for example, when you come all the way down, you feel the pull on the tendon in your shoulder, and you realize from here to here, there's a lot of shoulder pulling in, front delt. From the mid-range to the lockout is the pec, and the lockout is really the tricep. So now you say, okay, I want to focus on just the pec. So you take out that shoulder, take out the tricep, and now you have just the pec. And that's the idea for these ranges of motion that Jason Ho does and Phil does. And Phil had posted a thing, it was a thread about how to train quads, or was it quads or legs? Anyway, quads, legs, whatever it was. And people asked him how deep they should squat. And should it be rock bottom, should it be parallel, or whatever. And Phil said straight inside the thing, here's something different. How about doing different range of motion in the same set? So maybe one below parallel, one a quarter of the way down, one to parallel, one 3/4 of the way down, one, so you're actually changing during this set. Could that even spark more growth? Possibly could be. If you haven't been doing it and you're not adapted to it, you absolutely could do it. So now here you have another type of thing besides the short range of motion, varied ranges of motion to do during your workouts. But again, this is advanced stuff. This is not something you're going to do if you've been in the gym for 2 months and you're beginning. Don't jump automatically into this stuff because you need to get those basics down first before you can move on. Let's see, we had another one on here by Dwayne Bolton. And these all came off the trend video, which apparently a lot of you guys like, so thanks for watching. I hope you guys learned a lot on it. And he says that guys on gear try to downplay the effects of their drugs, while natural guys talk up the supplements they waste their money on. Now he says that he thinks that just because someone takes drugs, we're going to downplay it and say that it's really not the drugs that do the work. Now let me ask you this question, Dwayne. If I give you testosterone, Anadrol, and Deca, and you don't work out, and you eat McDonald's, or one meal a day, or whatever it is, Chipotle, what's going to happen to you? You're going to get fat. You're not going to build muscle. So does that drug really do anything on its own? I mean, biochemically, it may change things hormonally in your body, but the drug doesn't build muscle, does it? No. So now here's how it works. I think Dorian Yates actually ran through these before in one of his videos. You need to train properly. So now you need to train the body, get the right stimulus to activate the muscle growth. Then you need to feed the body. Okay? Activate the muscle growth, feed the body the nutrients to build, then recover. Okay, so you need rest. So training, diet, rest. Now, lastly, drugs. The fourth top thing you need to do is drugs then. Because now what happens is it makes those other three work better. And yes, it'll give you a new physique, a bigger physique, but it's a bigger version of what you already are. It's gone beyond what you've tapped out naturally, although what you tap out naturally is not your genetic potential. Your genetic potential is where you tap out on drugs. That's your real genetic potential, okay? And until you do that, until you take that step and say, I'm going to do my training, my diet, I'm going to do all this stuff and get it in check, the drugs are not going to work for you. They're not going to help you. I've seen plenty of guys take it, train half-ass, and look horrible. I actually knew a kid in high school that was taking them because he was on the wrestling team, or he wanted to cut weight so he could make the wrestling team, and he wasn't working out. And he was, oh, I'm taking this, I'm taking. He looked like shit. He looked terrible. Him of all people didn't look like they were on anything. Half the other guys on the team who were busting their ass, training with weights, doing their calisthenics, and watching what they eat to make their weight classes, they looked like they were doing something, and they weren't. This was back in '92. All right, so 92, steroids weren't even a thought in my high school. There was one kid that was doing them that we knew of, and yes, he looked like he was doing them. But that kid, again, was training his ass off at the gym every night. He was bringing meals with him to school to eat. Again, if you're seeing the trend here and you're seeing the common factors, training, eating, rest, then the steroids. So I hope this answers some stuff for you guys about what the drugs really do. Again, we're beating a dead horse. And about Jason Hood, where he got some of his ideas from, which actually came from Professional Muscle. You guys can check that out for yourselves. And again, Phil Herndon is another guy I want to check into, because a lot of the ideas that you're seeing some of these other guys come up with. Shelby Starnes also, he trained with Phil too before he went out on his own and started doing his thing. So I mean, a lot of things have kind of come around the way through Phil before they went onto their own ways. So they've learned a lot of stuff from him. BioStreetTraining@gmail.com. Leave comments down below, www.biostreettraining.com. And I personally want to thank Phil for all he's done for me, and we're out.